Hi everybody. The story of Pharaoh and Moses in the Old Testament and the Jews wanting to be delivered, to be brought into the promised land, to escape Pharaoh, is sort of playing out today, with Obama being today's Pharaoh of the New World Order, and the Christians all around the earth are being subjected to the New World Order. Now, for those people that know what biometric payment systems is, I have taught on this channel that the Antichrist's greatest assault on humanity, through the false prophet being Pope Francis too, because he has connections to this, is to causeth all to receive a mark in the right hand or the forehead, and that no man shall buy or sell save he that hath the mark. Now the forehead, according to my understanding of Scripture, is the eyes. Now let's just go through some Old Testament Scriptures and let's confirm that for people. First of all, let's start in Revelation chapter 14. Where it reads from verse 9 to 11 about not taking the mark, and that if you do, the default is eternity in hell. And then let's read where that last verse ends, verse 11. Let's read verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Okay, what I didn't say just before was also that people are wanting to escape, get gathered up, raptured up into heaven to escape the coming the wrath of God, the Trumpet and the Vials Judgments, which is the wrath of God that is still coming. People want to escape that, and they are waiting for the gathering event. In the meantime, the New World Order and the beast system, along with the beast man and the false prophet, have unleashed a biometric 666 payment system upon the earth, which is taking ground every day. And people are being subjected to this system, to this mark, this DNA mark, DNA for payments, just like the HSBC ad says, your DNA will be your data. So before anyone escapes and gets caught up into the promised land, being heaven, and escapes the clutches of Pharaoh, the Antichrist, the beast, the first beast of Revelation chapter 13, people will be subjected to his mark. And Scripture says here in verse 12, here is the patience of the saints, here are they who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Okay, let's find out what the Old Testament says about this subject. Exodus chapter 13, verses 8 and 9 says, and thou shalt show thy son in that day, saying, this is done because of that which the Lord did unto me when I came forth out of Egypt. Right, see the escape from Egypt for the Jews to the promised land. And it shall be for a sign upon thee, upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes, that the Lord's law may be in thy mouth. For with a strong hand hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. We're waiting for the strong hand of God, the Lord, to bring us out of the earth to escape the coming wrath of God. And here it says, well, we just read back in chapter 14 of Revelation about keeping the faith of Jesus and doing his commandments. Verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints, here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Well, has a lot to do with the Old Testament, that scripture. Like I just read, Exodus chapter 13, verse 8 and 9, especially verse 9. And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes, that the Lord's law may be in thy mouth, for with a strong hand hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. Alright, let's go to chapter 13, verse 15 and 16. It came to pass when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that the Lord slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. And here's the verse 16. And it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. For my strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. And in the future, by the strength of the hand of the Lord, he will gather the worthy saints, the elect, to him, because he has not appointed us unto wrath. And look at, and it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. Frontlets, if you look up the definition, is the forehead of an animal, a beast, and you can even find a definition where it says that frontlets is the forehead of a stag, the forehead of a buck, deer. Wow. You know, there'll be a mark in the forehead, no man shall buy or sell. Eyes, every mention of eyes here. Come on, you're piecing it all together. Let's read some other verses. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 6 to 9. Says, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Same as what Revelation chapter 14 verse 12 says. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Deuteronomy chapter 11. Verses 6 to 23. Now, I won't read all of these verses out. Chapter 11, 6 to 23. And we'll look predominantly at verse 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, and that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. Between your eyes. Frontlets between your eyes. Bind them on your hand. So don't use your hands for payments, or your eyes for scanning. Your irises, your retinas for scanning, because it's the mark of the beast. And to finish, Proverbs 7, 1 to 3. Now this is just amazing. How little do these scriptures ever get mentioned. Proverbs chapter 7, 1 to 3. Oh, where are you? My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Revelation 14, verse 12. Keep my commandments and live, hey? And my law as the apple of thine eye. And my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number shall be 666. Daniel chapter 12, verse 10 talks about wisdom and understanding. And I'll finish on that. Daniel chapter 12. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Do not be counted with the wicked. Understanding is what you need in these last days, because if you do not understand, you'll be counted with the wicked. Thanks for listening.